All right, what is up, everyone? Sorry about the delay. I was rudely interrupted by a salesman. But anyway, today is a big day. It is the Eagles versus Bucs playoff game, and I'm joined by Bucs superfan Matthew, who is known as the Preacher, and we are going to preview this matchup. We're going to talk about the game, and without further ado, welcome Bucs superfan the Preacher.
Hey, thank you there, Positive Philly. Appreciate the invite here. I'm coming from my home up here in Minnesota. Of course, since you're from up north yourself, you probably know about the cold weather, so we're just trying to stay warm here.
We got a Bucs fan from Minnesota. They're known to live down in the nice weather in Florida, but this one's from the Windy City, Minnesota. That's known as Green Bay, right?
Windy City is actually Chicago. If you're a truck driver, I was a former one, so that's known as Windy City.
Right, but anyway, let's get down to it. Let's get started. We don't want to waste the people's time.
Of course not.
How did you become a Bucs super fan? There's a difference, to me at least. There's a difference between a fan and a super fan. We're super fans. Then there's regular fans. We do content. We have podcasts. Would you agree that there's a difference? And how did you become not only a Bucs fan, but a Bucs super fan?
Well, I became a Bucs fan in 2000. That was a resolution to watch more football. I searched around, seen their stadium, seen their logo, thought pirate theme, cool team, fell in love with them. And I just recently was dubbed a super fan by a good friend of mine who happens to wear the purple, aka Papa Seiko of the Minnesota Vikings, Viking World Order. He called me a super fan. He, introduced me to elite super fans there, which you're well aware of as a member. And pretty much the rest is history. I do a weekly show called Game Day Inspirations with, of course, the Preacher. I am an ordained minister. I don't do a whole lot of, actual preaching per se. I just find, inspirational content, be it, maybe a phrase from, a famous leader or something I've seen on the net that might inspire people. I do it every game day.
Amazing. What do you believe is the biggest factor? Does that make sense? What do you believe is the biggest factor for the Bucs to win and advance in life versus my Eagles? Obviously, I'm watching Good Morning Football here as we speak. I was watching before the show started, and Ian Rappaport of NFL Network had reported that Baker Mayfield is questionable. What is it, with his ankle or knee, or what's his injury?
I've heard both ankle and ribs. Ribs. And I checked. We were talking prior to this. The Bucs website, and last report I seen was from Friday, where Todd Bowles, our head coach, said he's good to go along with everybody else. But I've seen other reports where he's still questionable. So I guess
we'll see. Who would be backup quarterback? Would it be Kyle Trask?
It would be Trask. And unfortunately, when Baker came and Trask, lost Baker, I was a little skeptical about Baker. I'll admit it. I thought
we skeptical about Jalen Hurts too, and look at him now. So
yeah, I thought give Trask, a chance. I mean, look at Tom Brady back in his heyday. He was picked. What was it? Way at the end of the draft, and look what he's done over his career. So anything's possible. But to answer your question on what the Bucs need to do to win, I think either the Bucs or the Eagles, need to come out strong. They need to, get that ball downfield, score first, and keep the lead, because that's how our defense gets worn out. That's how our other teams' defenses get worn out, is when they, start to fall behind, and the offense has to kick in and try to make big plays, and that's where the mistakes come in, the turnovers. I've seen it, with Baker Mayfield trying to make big plays, waiting too long, getting sacked, doing passes that, I have no idea who he was passing to, but, it wasn't, a Bucs player, it was somebody else. And, that's the key, is you need to score fast, give your time for your defense to relax, refresh, because a bad defense doesn't help.
Right. I didn't write this down, but I really haven't asked an opposing fan this, but I want to ask you now that I have the opportunity to, now that you're on my show. What are your thoughts on, and I'm saying this correctly for you and any other fan base that is known as the tush push, but what are your thoughts on the brotherly shove, and how do you think the Bucs can stop that tonight? Because no team has really been able to stop the brotherly shove.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that, tush push there. And I mean, we do have, some big defensive players. Let me correct myself on there. Vita Vea up in the front, he was part of that Super Bowl win. He's a veteran. The key is to, get those big players in there. I think, if you, don't try to go low where they can get up and over, but if you stay up high and can just keep pushing that line back, it should work no matter what team you're on. It's when they go low and they can, get up and over and get that, yardage that they need.
They're showing it on TV as we speak.
Of course, my TV's behind me, so.
What's your? I didn't really write. Like, usually when I do interviews, I type up questions and everything. Like, I just kind of. But what's your favorite memory as a Bucs fan?
Oh, my favorite memory would be my very first NFL experience, and that would be 2005, the debut of Cadillac Williams, up here in Minnesota. That was, of course, a week 1 game. Never been to a game. Had old Warren Sapp jersey. Went down to my old hometown of Minneapolis. Went into the Metrodome, surrounded by thousands of Vikings fans, not knowing what to expect. Thinking, okay, I'm going to be eaten alive by these people. But all in all, couple, we won't mention their, term for them, but 99% of the Vikings fans just totally awesome. And because of that, love they showed me as a new fan coming into the game, into their own stadium, and even being a Minnesotan, and a lot of them found out, I'm from Minnesota here. They still treated me with that utmost respect and showed me that fan love. And that's probably the greatest memories I've ever had.
Would you say you consider the Vikings as a rival living in Minnesota? Like, we talked on the phone we did a messenger video call before we had done the show, guys, to prepare and get all the information down for it. And he had actually told me, well, you told the people. I was actually on vacation myself week 1. I was down in Disney, and I went to a bowling alley bar to watch the Eagles game. It was pretty fun. But what did you do week 1 as a Buccaneers fan? Tell the people.
Well, week 1 of this season, I did a whole entire all preseason, off season this year. I did a hype called Return of the Preacher, because it's been since 2005 was the last time the Bucs were up here in my home state. So I did this big hype to get pumped. I grabbed my mom, my wife. We went down to the game. We stayed the night before. We hung out with Viking World Order. We hung out with the True Life, which is a Bucs organization, Buckaholics. We
I've heard of that.
tailgated. Yep, we tailgated. We partied. We had a great time. It was my mom's and my better half's very first NFL experience. They were, a little nervous, kind of like I was at my first one. But after they got out of the car and started meeting people, they were showing that same love, respect that I was at my first game. And
Awesome.
of course, we came home with that victory, and I like to brag that I'm actually 3-0 when hanging out with Vikings fans prior to a Bucs game.
Yeah, I do apologize for my dog if you can hear him barking in the background.
No, that's no problem. I got 2 dogs of my own, so I'm used to it.
But yeah, that is pretty awesome. That you were able to experience that, and you said you're 3-0 when hanging out with Vikings fans.
Yes, I am. The first was 05. The last time was a couple of years ago. I have a friend that's a Vikings fan. Like I said earlier, I'm a minister. I officiated his Vikings themed wedding, so he had a bunch of Vikings fans there, and I joked with his wedding. If you actually follow my Facebook page, I do have, the video of the wedding there. I, prayed for a Bucs Super Bowl victory, and of course, we know what happened that year, and the Vikings lost, and it all worked out. And then just this year, hung out with him and the Vikings again, and went 3-0. So, hey, who knows? I'm here live with you, so anything's possible. But in all honesty, I just hope for a great game today.
Yeah, we have a lot of playoff history.
That we do.
There's some games that you want to talk about, some games I don't want to talk about. But wild card weekend seems to be a prime time for the Eagles and the Bucs to meet in the playoffs. Obviously, a few years ago, we had Hurts versus Brady. You guys won that game. That was the year you guys went to Super Bowl. And then what did we say? It was 2003. We had the wild card game against us. You guys had won that game as well.
Yep.
I've heard that. I've heard about that game from other Eagles fans. I was too young to remember it and know about it, but I don't want to, go back and waste my time watching highlights and everything. Raymond James Stadium is a nice stadium. I got to give you guys props. The ship is cool, but the one thing that I can't stand, and I'm sure you already know. First of all, have you ever been down there yourself?
I have not been to an actual game. I have been down there to tour. It's been about 11 years. I was doing truck driving, potato harvest there in northern Florida, up in the Panhandle area. I had a day off, went down to Tampa, toured the stadium, but haven't been to an actual game yet, which hopefully this coming 2024 to 2025 season, that's my plan.
Who are you hoping to see down there? Do you have a team or tied up yet or no?
I haven't, made the plans yet. We're, still waiting for the schedule and everything to come out and figure out when.
So I had gone down there. It was September of 2018. And, those were the days back with Nick Foles and all, Eagles legend, won us the Super Bowl. They did end up losing, but I don't remember. You correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember how long they did this, but I know I saw Eagles fans videos from when they were down there this year. They're like, first down, Tampa Bay.
Hey. They still do that. The cannons firing. Like when we get in the red zone, they do the one shot, and that to this day, even the announcers, for like Fox, ABC, ESPN, they're like, well, why do they fire the cannon? Well, you guys have been doing this for how many years? And you guys, should know by now, our routine, we call it that warning shot.
Yeah. Like I said, I had gone down there with my grandparents with a travel agency back in 2018, and it's an awesome stadium. I've been there, and I've been to the Link and FedEx Field, which I don't recommend going to. That is like,
Yep.
but this year I'm hoping to go down to maybe Baltimore or up to New York or even out to Dallas. We got a question here. My Pat says, "Is the preacher a Vikings fan or a Bucs fan?" The Eagles are playing the Bucs today, so I had to have a Bucs fan on the show. He's a Bucs fan living in Minnesota. So.
That is correct. I do follow the Vikings, every now and then when we have the bye, because that's what we get up here in Minnesota mostly is Vikings games. But I am a diehard Bucs fan through and through.
Now, how do you watch the games? Did you buy you have the Sunday ticket?
I have Sunday ticket, Peacock, Hulu, ESPN Plus, Paramount Plus, so I can get pretty much everything, from that. Plus, I also have Sirius satellite radio, so if I'm at work, just put in the headphones, catch the home team.
There's always a way to watch your games, no matter where you live. I mean, damn, we have. I've personally, this year after the link, I met Eagles fans from Ireland, Scotland. Like the NFL is international, and with all these international games, I mean, obviously it's getting to be too much traveling everywhere. But they're just trying to expand their fan base. But they have soccer. We have our sport and football. They have their soccer, which is football. So like we travel too much internationally. But who's your favorite Bucs player of all time?
Well, I hate to say this to all you Philly fans, but it has to be our most current Hall of Famer, the one and only Ronde Barber. And, over my shoulder there, I have his autographed football.
Pretty cool. Coming up on 20 minutes here soon. I don't really know what else I had to ask. I mean, we're just, what do you... Are you worried about us at all tonight? I mean, obviously, like I had said to you earlier, it's a very different matchup than it was when we played Monday Night Football Week 3. You guys were the worst team. We were the better team. Now you guys were the better team. We're the worst team after losing 5 of our last 6 games. Does anything worry you about this Eagles team?
Well, I've been kind of, checking the stats out here. And like I said earlier, regular season games, 8-9, favor Philadelphia. Postseason, let me just check my notes here. 3-2, favor of Bucs.
Okay, so regular season have the advantage, but the postseason guys have the advantage. So that's all me now. But
when you look at the actual breakdown of statistics, yards, passing, rushing, for each team versus them against their opponents, we're pretty, close. Might be a couple 100 yards in favor of one, the other might be a couple plays favor of one, favor of the other. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm worried, that my Bucs might lose because, we've played, just last week, Carolina, which everybody knows has been the worst team in the NFL. And the only way we beat them was by 3 field goals. You can't win games by just field goals. You need to get those touchdowns.
I was paying close attention on Red Zone watching them NFC South games because the winner of that is going to be our opponent this week. And didn't even score a touchdown against the Panthers. And obviously you said, that's disappointing considering the fact that they're not they are the worst team in the NFL. Don't even have a first-round pick because they traded that to the Chicago Bears for DJ Moore. But I feel like they're going to have to do something in the first round of the draft. I feel like they're going to trade up and have to do something. But we'll see. What is your rival team? Like, team you absolutely despise? For me, the chain broke because they suck so much. But it's obvious. It sucks. So who was your most hated team in the division?
Well, me personally, if I had to choose just for the South, I would have to say Saints. But if it was all of the NFC and NFL, being from Minnesota, it's in my DNA. I would have to go with none other than Green Bay Packers. I mean, those guys, they have a strong history. How many Super Bowl wins have they had? You know,
So how did you feel last night then?
well, I was hoping they'd lose,
Oh my God.
but I had a feeling, they were going to pull it out of their hats, and sure enough, they did.
It was awesome
And
to see.
I've been to Lambeau a couple times, not just for Bucs game, but also a Vikings game with a couple of friends from up here, and
You wear Bucs gear.
yes, I have. I've worn my Bucs gear, and Lambeau Field, a lot of history there. As a fan, I might love my Bucs, but I'm also a fan of the game. I have a lot of respect for, teams like the Eagles, you know, Lambeau Field. I got a lot of respect for that stadium just because of the history there.
Now,
So
have you ever been here?
I've driven through Philly, a couple of times, truck driving, but never been to your guys' stadium.
Because I believe we play you guys again next year.
If I'm not mistaken, I do believe you guys play us again next year, at least once.
Now, I'm not sure if that's home or.
No.
Let me see. I'm pulling up Twitter because I know I had tweeted about it. I tweet.
Okay. Yep.
Gotta give me a minute. I tweet 100 things a day, so.
Oh, understandable. I'm always tweeting.
Or should we call it Xing now?
Let's see here. Schedule.
Let's see. What is it? Yeah, I got a bunch of Packers tweets on here, a bunch of Cowboys roasting tweets. Did you see Buffalo, man? That's wild. I'm sure you're familiar with that kind of weather.
Oh, I've seen Buffalo, and just want to wish those traveling to Buffalo for the game safe travels. I know winters. I've lived through the 1991 Halloween blizzard, which is infamous here in Minnesota. It basically shut down the Twin Cities for, what was it, probably 4 or 5 days. They were digging out. And that's, a major metropolitan area. That'd be like, Philadelphia being shut down for 4 to 5 days because of snow.
I don't remember when it was posted, but I'm like 95% sure to play you guys. And it is
Yeah.
here. Is it in Philly this time?
Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Future opponents. 2024. See here. Home for the Bucs here. It shows on their website.
Yeah, we play you guys at home again, and we play the Rams at home again. Which I don't know why we just played those two teams this year. Like I'd like for us to go someplace like Denver, Minnesota, down to Houston.
Yeah, I know.
I want to go to. I'm a big country music fan, and it's always been my it's on my bucket list to go to Nashville. And my mom are hopefully planning a trip this year in the spring. But I would love to go for an Eagles Titans game. If I want to go there for an Eagles Titans game, I got to wait until 2026.
Yep.
So, but oh great, they're picking the games on Good Morning Football right now. Let's see. Jason McCourty picked the Bucs. Peter Strager, don't let me down. Let's see. Like I said, Jason McCourty picked the Bucs. Come on, Peter. And Peter picked the Bucs. Oh my God, Kyle Brandt has to pick the Birds. I feel like he's an Eagles fan.
Well, somebody has to pick you guys, I hope.
Oh, right? Come on, Kyle. Yeah, let's go. He said in a very ugly game.
Oh,
Interesting fact there. Interesting statement there by Kyle Brandt. As tonight's going to be a very ugly game, but he's going with the Birds. I personally disagree. I don't know about you. And Jamie picked the Bucs. Come on. I don't know. Do you think it's going to be a high scoring game, low scoring game, ugly game, great game?
well, like I said, I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to come down to, like I said, earlier, who scores first and quickest. Wear down the opponent's defense, no matter if it's you guys scoring first on us or us scoring first on you guys. And it's going to come down to probably, towards the end, who has that ball at the end and can get that 2-minute drill in. Because I have a feeling it's going to be pretty close here. And if I remember right, I do believe the weather forecast for Tampa, let me just pull it up here. I think it's supposed to be raining down there.
You know that we've been. Hey, I'm happy with that. We play kind of good in the rain as of recent this year, so that's all right.
Right. Yeah.
But where can before we are coming up on a half hour here, I predicted the show to go this long. That's usually how my shows go. But any final thoughts before we go?
Well, like I said earlier, I'm a fan of the game. First and foremost, fan of fans. I love all my fellow football family. So no matter what team you're playing, or rooting for, I wish you all the best of luck, in this, postseason. But of course, as a Bucs fan, I'm praying, hoping for that W today, going on for another. I see that head shaking, brother. But like I said, I'm hoping for advancing for another week of football. But in all honesty, I've said it 100 times. I'll say it again. Win, losses, it doesn't matter. What matters to me is making those friendships with that, and memories with my fellow football fans, no matter what jersey you wear.
That's great. Yeah, obviously, I got a lot of respect for the Bucs. I got a lot of I got respect for all teams except for the three. No, that's a lie. Except for a few, I don't got respect for the Patriots, the Giants, Cowboys, or Washington.
Yep.
But I got respect for all fans. All fans are great. We're all humans. We all have our own opinions to respect our own teams.
Oh yeah.
And everything. But with that being said, before I let you go, I do want to ask you, one more thing. I always want people to be able to promote themselves and promote their brand. So where can people follow you out on social media? If there's Eagles fans out there that want to follow a Bucs fan, for the heck of it, where can they find you at?
Well, I'm all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. All you have to do is just Google at Bucs Preacher on Google. You should be able to find me there. You can follow my fan page on Facebook. There should be a link there in Google, Twitter, or Instagram. Or if you're on Facebook, just type in The Preacher and it should pull up a photo of me.
Sounds great. With that being said, go Birds. Do you want to say anything? Do you want to say?
Oh, we're going to fire the cannons because, believe me, I love smoked bird. So go Bucs. Thank you, brother, for the opportunity and good luck.
Good luck.